G'day, ladies and gentlemen. How are we today? It's another Sunday sipping session of the North Queensland Freedom Network. So I am absolutely strapped for time at the moment. I'm busting chops to try and edit while continuously doing this. So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got a fair bit of cool stuff. We went over to Magnetic Island yesterday. And we spent all day shooting in the sun. I got myself a lovely case of which way does that work? Yeah, that way. And you see, I got a bit too much sun there yesterday. Working hard to present you some amazing content and to shed some light onto the conditions of what's supposed to be one of the major tourist traps here in Townsville or North Queensland. It's a lovely little island, Magnetic Island. The people who live there love their island, no matter the state that it's in. But it seems that there are other people in this community who don't seem to care about the island as much, or at least certain parts of it. That's for sure. Well, it's Sunday, Arvo. I think the best way to start this is really with a sips, ladies and gentlemen. I apologise. I did get a little bit heated. I think on that last podcast, there might have been a few choice words said. I'm going to give it a go. I keep saying it, but I'm going to try and keep that potty mouth down. But I think I let loose a little bit because I was watching a bit too much Rodney Roode that day, in an attempt to get an idea of a clip. So, that wonderful, charismatic Australian character that we've all known and loved and is slowly being destroyed, sort of came out a bit strong. So it is what it is. But look, let's get into this and we'll introduce my good friend here, Alan, who's got a lot to tell us about the hard work he's doing to help the people of Magnetic Island. How are you, Alan?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too shabby, buddy. Not too shabby, mate. So you've been in court recently trying to help the residents of Amaroo. The Anne-Marie Greenie says she's not kicking out to the street, but it seems that some people have been kicked out to the street and others have managed to secure some sort of a reasonable associate or deal so long as they themselves own the place that they're in. But if you were a renter, a long-term renter, that's no longer a possibility. Do you want to walk us through what's happened there, buddy?
Yeah, so right at the start, Anne-Marie's put this issue before the legal counsel and they prosecuted this case. Their initial application was that long-term renters and residents was an unlawful act. They did a compromise to proceedings on the 15th of October 24 and basically said, we'll change that to they can live there for the duration of their life or until they sell it. Under those circumstances, it will revert to short-term stay, which has a maximum tenancy of 3 months and 12 months. So, if you're a long-term renter, you're out. They offered that originally to only 2 people, and as such, we decided, well, why not offer it to all the people? All the active respondents got on board, and on Thursday, the judge said that it was quite reasonable to allow that to happen. So he rubber stamped that, and those are the new issues there around Amaroo. So the long-term renters are out. Any long-term residents that weren't party to this proceedings, and there are a few of those, they're out also. So the mere fact that Anne-Marie says, we're not in the business of throwing people out, or I think in Monday's bulletin on the 10th of March, she said, it was never our intention to throw people out. That's obviously proven to be an absolute lie.
Wow. Yeah, it's a bit hard when she's saying things like, we're not in the business of throwing people out, but the fact of the matter is that's what's happened. So
yes. If you read the initial application, page 5, it's got the long-term tenancy and long-term renters paragraph that says that the council is seeking a declaration that's an unlawful use, and 12C of the compromise to proceedings actually stipulates that there'll be 15 long-term renters that will be thrown out, but this will have a positive effect on the renting agent there.
yeah. So how's this having a positive effect on the renting agent exactly?
It's like everything the council do. It's a bit of false economy. So they're saying, okay, well, we can churn more people through the place, therefore he gets more. So on the balance of it, it looks like not a bad deal. But given that there's only 40% occupancy rates anyway, that there'll be more people that'll have their units without any tenants. So the long-term renters, obviously, if you're long-term, you pay a little bit less. However, you've got 100% occupancy. Whereas if you're in the tourist letting pool, you would pay a higher price, but you've got the chance of your unit not having anyone in it. So
Yeah.
they're the two options, and because it's only at 40% capacity, then obviously anything more is just a waste because it gets worse.
Mm.
So instead of the renting pool being 60 units, it's now 90 units. So it's just false economy.
Yeah. So have you had a chance to speak to any of the, long-term renters that have been consequently given the boot here, and how are they holding up and feeling after all this?
Excuse me, I just getting a cup of tea. But yeah, so I spoke to a few of them, and they're still waiting for the orders from the Judge Everson to be stamped and put in front of them. So hopefully I'll get them Monday. Um,
Yeah.
they're feeling pretty uneasy at the moment and can't believe what's just happened. But I
Yeah.
think once I put this paperwork in front of them and say, hey, listen, this is a judge has stamped this. This is now what's going to happen. I'm terribly sorry. We fought as hard as we could for as long as we could, but we're only half over the bridge. Um,
Yeah.
I understand Anne Marie's comment said that this is great for the council. Well, I've just spent in the vicinity of $1.5 million kicking 20 or 30 people out. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's obscene. That's not what we pay rates for. We don't pay rates to see, uh, residents here, whether they're renting or owning, removed from for their homes. I mean, and just to clarify, I know we probably covered this in the past, but was there any consultation about this, or was it just a bang, here you go, get out?
Well, as you know, Mark, in Division 3, there is no consultation either with the sitting councillor or the administration in anything that they do,
Mm,
which brings us on to the 55 Kelly Street that we'll discuss in a minute. But there is no community consultation whatsoever. So in January 2023, the council decided after 20 odd years that they would change their interpretation of the Planning Act. And
yeah,
as such, in about October, they realised that, oh, hold on, we can't actually do this without a judge saying so. So they put their application in October 2023, and that's what happened. So when it was before Anne Marie, she said, "Oh, well, I can't speak about this matter because it's in front of legal." And then when it got lodged in October 2023, the Anne Marie's response was, "Oh, well, it's in front of the court. I can't speak about it." But during the local election, she uttered those famous words, "We're not in the business of throwing people out." So
yeah.
it's okay on one hand not to speak, and on the other hand, when it suits her, she is allowed to speak. So yeah, that zero consultation in Division 3 is pissing a lot of people off, and we saw that with regard to the parking meters down the Strand. That just
Oh,
winds
definitely.
people up.
It's disgraceful, and yeah, they just seem to think they can do whatever they want from my personal observations, which is not how this is supposed to work. I was under the impression that there's supposed to be some sort of communication with the public, and the public is supposed to be able to express their will, and that these people are meant to actually represent our views, not the views of the council and the interests of whoever
Well,
they're in the pockets of.
is isn't that really the democratic process? Consultation, find the best solution, and go forward with the people, not against the people. This is just ridiculous. The behaviour of the council at the moment, and I can only say with all those other people that have voiced their concerns, we need to sack this council and move on. It's as simple as that. And I hope Mr. Bailey's listening to this and takes it on board and takes it to Anne Lay, the local government minister, and says, enough's enough. We've got to pull the plug on this broken council.
Yeah. And a little bit off the topic of Magnetic Island, obviously this week the council went in to vote on the issue of fluoride, and it wasn't even actually to vote on the issue itself. It was more of a case of, are we going to accept a petition put forth by the people? And as I understand it, they basically said, nope, we're going to rip that up and chuck it away. We don't care what the people think. We're not wasting any more time on this issue, I believe is the statements of some of the more harebrained people in that place.
Yeah, so B1, Brady Ellis made that statement. We're not going to waste our time with this issue anymore. I think Liam Mooney, or Lane Mooney as they call him, he seconded it. And I think Paul Jacob put his hand up too, and he wanted to second it too, which is really disappointing because, Paul comes from a medical background and he's quite a caring sort of person. How he justifies this sort of behaviour to himself, I don't know. But just to explain to the viewers that this whole argument was put to bed in September last year in the federal court in America, whereby experts come forward, and it was accepted by the judge that fluoride was a neurotoxin to young children. So
yep.
I understand those rates were 0.05 parts per million, right down to nothing. So the very end of the spectrum. So virtually nothing to absolutely nothing, if I could explain it like that. And the judge accepted it. And then once he accepted that, then fluoride was taken out of all the drinking water in America, as it's a neurotoxin. So for those that aren't medically trained or don't have much idea what that actually means, so that's poison to the brain. That affects particularly young children. And Brady Ellis, I see, he's got a 2 or 3 year old. He took him to the football, and that's a great thing. But how can you circumvent your responsibilities as a parent by giving your child a neurotoxin? I mean, to me, that's just all sorts of wrong, and I'll certainly bring that up with him next time I see him face to face.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you, mate. Like, it was one of those, I've stated before, but I'll state it again. What brought my attention to this, something's not right with this fluoride thing. Obviously I heard a lot of people going, there's something not right here. Why are they doing it? But then when I had my first lot of kids, I got the public health thing from, child health service or whatever it is in Victoria. And I was flipping through it, and looking at the teeth brushing scenario, and they're like, don't let your children use full strength adult toothpaste when they're brushing their teeth. It's not good for them. I'm like, okay, if it's not good for them, how's it good for me? And that's when I'm like, well, let's start digging into this. What is this fluoride stuff? And you find out, well, it's called LD50, which makes it a poison. Granted, it's only in certain doses, but you start to realize, well, it's supposed to be applied topically. So in a toothbrush, I guess there's one way to do it. You're applying it topically, but then you're taking it straight off. So it's not really getting a chance to sink in. Then putting it into the water supply, how are you applying it topically? It just brushes past your teeth on the way into the digestive system. This makes no sense. But I found so much research that indicated that it was bad for you. I think there were even some things indicating that places like Nazi Germany were big on putting it into the water supply of the concentration camps, and Stalin was also a big one for putting it in the water supply. I'm like, well, those two weren't exactly known as good people. I mean,
they weren't good humanitarians.
these kind of socialist dictators. I mean, the fact that they're just dismissing the will of the people and putting, the same kind of poisons in the water supply as socialist dictators, one's got to wonder exactly what they're trying to tell the people here by acting in such a manner. But yeah, like to have actual health advice say don't put this stuff near your kids was enough for me to go, right, it's out of the water supply, and I either buy the pure already filtered no fluoride water, or we've got multiple filters running on the tap for drinking purposes to pull that shit out. And I shouldn't have to. I mean, I've already paid for the water supply. Why have I got to pay extra to clean it up after the job? That's what they're supposed to have done in the first place. So that really heaves me. Not to mention that I've gone through and put my council notices through requesting that they show us the National Measurement Institute number, identifying that they have complied with the National Measurement Institute Act and the Fluoride Act, and the Health and Safety Acts and all those other things that we've gone through, and they failed to do that. So they've been given the notice of default, and they themselves have accepted as a condition of that notice of default that they are not following the law. So I would have thought that'd be a great easy way out. Look, we're screwed, guys. We better get out of that. But obviously, we're going to have to take that matter further. But we'll have more on that in the meantime. But let's move along, dude. We've definitely had, I mean, obviously it's another point, Cooktown, they've removed it. Cairns voted to make sure it didn't go back in again. Councils are dropping it all over the place, yet Townsville City Council and their wonderful arrogance have just decided, stuff you, we don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, if I could just share my experience and how I come to the conclusion that I didn't, Mark. Buddy, I had mates come up to me and they said, well, we've got concerns about the fluoride in the water. And I thought, well, hold on, I was a traditionalist, you brush your teeth twice a day and you don't have cavities, and, you drink the water and you don't have cavities and all that sort of thing. And I thought, that's, it's right in the face of what I've been told. But then I thought to myself, the whole COVID-19 experience, it really opens your eyes to question everything, well, we were told that was safe and that wasn't going to transmit the disease and there were no side effects, and we know that's all rubbish. So I thought, I'll look into it. And they had, and I said to my mates, I said, what information do you have? So anyway, after about 35 volumes later, and I think I read all 28 pages of the judge's remarks on the September federal court ruling, that is quite clear that fluoride is a neurotoxin, and if you're a fair dinkum parent, not just a father but a parent, then you've got to look out for your kids, and you really need to look at these different issues as they come up. What was acceptable 20 years ago isn't necessarily safe today with new technology, and parents need to be on their guard. And that's my experience. Like I was a fluoride kid, and I don't know what the long-term side effects are. Maybe it's really bad. Maybe it's just mediocre bad. But why subject your children to the stupidity that you were subjected to is my thoughts. So parents need to step up and go, yeah, okay, well, look at the stuff and say, yeah, righto, well, what are the pros and what are the cons, and looking at all the information, it's overwhelming. Like these are doctors and specialists that have more letters behind their name than the alphabet, so they're well renowned. They've got peer-reviewed articles left, right, and centre, and some have had up to 30 peer reviews, and their information was that it's a neurotoxin. So for Brady Ellis, someone that's a Division 10 counsellor to go, we're not going to waste their time. I mean, this is just absurd. Yeah. What's he gonna stand up and pronounce bloody what's that
thalidomide
now?
Yeah.
It's just nonsensical that this this person with a child could be so ignorant.
Yeah. And as I've stated many a time, the whole purpose of science is that it is supposed to be questionable. And if you can't even talk about it, then that suggests that you don't have a very strong argument and you're unwilling to discuss it simply because you don't know what you're talking about, or that your argument itself is so weak it won't stand up.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So parents need to step up to the plate and go, yeah, okay, well, I can be wrong. Parents are not right all the time, and I obviously made a mistake in this judgment, but I'm aware of it now, and I'm
mm,
correcting that situation. So, if other
yeah,
parents are out there that are similar to me, fairly traditional, that brush your teeth twice a day and fluoride in the water and let's have healthy gums and teeth and stuff. Well, the evidence is that it has zero effect, the fluoride in the water, and the majority, although there's not a study out there, the majority of the work on the teeth through a mechanical application with a toothbrush is the bit that does the work, not the fluoride. And a lot of people need to understand that and separate those two things: mechanically cleaning your teeth with your toothbrush and the fluoride in the water. It's just you can't compare the two.
exactly. So we'll go into our next segment here, man, which is a fellow by the name of John who living on Kelly Street. He's got a property there with a small river running through it, and he took us for a bit of a walk. This
Yep.
is about a 10-minute video of some of the stuff you didn't get to see because you weren't brave enough to go through croc-infested, snake-infested waters like I would. Uh,
Yep. Yeah,
somehow I
take one for the
survived
team,
it again.
mate. Take one for the team.
Yeah, that's it. I think spending that time out in country with our Indigenous brothers and sisters giving me a bit of a blessing to be able to, challenge the odds sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyway, let's have a look at our little river mission and see what's going on John's property with his little river.
It'll be behind your place too, man. This is a creek that comes from.
So I'll apologise for some of the audio. I haven't had a chance to go through and completely clean this up the way I normally would. It's a slap and hack. That first bit there is actually a piece of asbestos. So that was supposed to sort of be slotted in somewhere else, but it didn't happen anyway.
This will be behind your place too, man. This is a creek that comes from council land.
Yep.
And it comes down and it joins into Gustave. It runs through our property here. Since our last heavy rain, the time before, this used to just all be sand. Yep. This was all sand. But we've got asbestos coming down now. It's everywhere. You got bits of concrete, bitumen. This just is all through here was just sand. Yeah. You come along, there's cement.
Yep.
There's bitumen.
So this is all waste materials from the
council? This is all from the council block.
Wow.
It's just everywhere. Little bitumen.
Wow.
There's concrete again.
Yep.
Just in, a few square feet.
Yep.
Piece of asbestos.
Yeah, nice and safe.
Yeah. Concrete from washing the trucks out up there.
Yep.
More bitumen.
Yep.
There's a bit of asbestos.
Just hold that there for a sec. So asbestos.
That's cement. And that's from washing trucks out.
Oh, okay. It kind of looks a bit like a rock to me.
No, it's actually cement.
It's cement.
It's cement, just cement.
Yeah.
Pure cement. We never had there's never any bitumen until that last lot of real heavy rain.
Yeah.
And I can show you, I've got video of it running down the creek of where it was coming from. So I've got all that.
Yeah, awesome.
And all the cement.
So that footage is yet to come, ladies and gentlemen. We've still got to do some work. We might even put like a little bit of a documentary together on this in time to come when I've got more time to scratch myself. But we've got more coming.
It might not look like cement, but that's actually like from washing cement trucks out.
Right. So that's why you've got those layers in
there. Yeah.
Hang on, just hold that for a second there. So you can see the layers of build up there that's been washed out. Some more asbestos.
My kids have actually come home with this, and this is how I found out where it was coming from, because we've only owned this land for since 2019, just before COVID. Yeah. And when they were young, they came home and they were using this for chalk. And I come down, they're writing their names with this. And I grabbed it off and said, "What are you doing? Don't touch that." And then I had to give them a chat about asbestos. And then they told me there was heaps of it up the creek. And I said, "Come and show me." Then it took me over a few years ringing council, and they would not do anything about it. Claudia from the council engineer come across.
Yeah.
She saw it, but then two blokes turned up with plastic bags to pick it up to do an emu parade, and it was like I showed them where it all was.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, we only got told just to do an emu pickup," and it was everywhere. We got all the bitumen.
Yeah.
We got all that cement here. There's asbestos, or a bit of cement again.
Yeah.
The plastic pipe.
There's a small bit of pipe.
Might go up that way, mate. Walk up that way. So we got all bitumen here again.
That's a big chunk, eh?
Yeah.
You can actually still see the road line on that.
Yeah, the cement. This is the area here where the water runs off.
Yep.
With the dredge spoil. This is where it's going to come into the creek. This is their plan. Asbestos. Just here there's a 10-metre strip all the way up through there.
Yep.
It's about a metre thick, and it was all exposed. This is where my kids were picking up the asbestos.
Right.
It took me 2 years of fighting with them just to cover it up. They said, "Oh, we haven't got a plan." I said, "I don't need a plan." I said, "Just cover it up so it stops coming down the creek."
Yeah.
And that's asbestos. And
So
it's all,
asbestos is buried into this site, is that what you're saying? And it's being
everywhere
washed
from
out?
there. It's buried, a big layer of it.
Wow.
It's all...
And that's the council's idea of asbestos management, is to just chuck it in the ground, bury it, and have it washed down the river.
That's just, asbestos. Asbestos.
This is disgraceful.
Okay?
That's disgraceful.
So this whole area here is all...
Another chunk of road, you can still see the line and that.
I don't know how far this goes back, but there is asbestos all through there. This layer here is all asbestos through there. It goes, I don't know how far it goes back, but it's a good metre thick. I've got photos of it all.
Yeah, great.
And it goes back. And it took me, they would not do anything. When they first did something was these, you see these rocks are the same ones that they used over in Horseshoe Bay when they fixed up that water problem they had over there with the runoff.
Yeah.
Then they came and did this after arguing with them, just to cover it up. Just do something about it.
Yeah.
It'd be different if it was on their backyard and their kids were playing with it, but it's just not. It's not right. I asked Anne-Marie Greenie if my children could go on the asbestos register, and I've never heard back. Under here, all through here is this sandstone, they call it coffee rock or sandstone rock, but it's about 3 metres down, 4 metres down, and the water hits that and then it runs through to the creek. And you can actually see the water running on top of that, out the sides of the banks of the creek, into the creek. So anything they're going to put there is going to hit that rock and then come through to the waterway anyway. They've already contaminated many bores on the island with sewage water.
Alright, so that affects your own personal supply of water.
Yeah, and so this is our bore. It's a 28 metre bore.
Yeah.
And that supplies water to this block here. And it's right next door. And this is one bore. We've got one just on the opposite side of the creek. We've got one at the house.
How do you run that one?
Straight pump and straight through.
Round about from that tree to the further tree, the green shrubby tree.
Yep.
That pretty much the sewage works and wasteland because of the gully there and all the rest of it. But the other side was all perfectly good land, almost as much as good as what this is mowed. And they trashed it. Just straight up trashed it. It was shit over the years.
So what we think's going on here at 55 Kelly Street is twofold. One, they're going to degrade the ground in such a way that it can't be community use anymore. And the other one is, because it's cheap and nasty, the Townsville City Council will make a quick profit out of this project, and then the state government will probably have to pick up the tab because it'll go pear-shaped like everything they do. So these are the two things that we're most concerned about. Being community use land, it shouldn't be used for quarrying or dumping of dredge spoil. It should be used for the community. That's its intended purpose, and that's what it should be used for.
So how long has this been a dumping site?
Well over 20 years now.
20 years. Of just
Well,
been
20
dumping
years. 20 years.
asbestos, concrete, asphalt, wood chips.
The last 5 years, they've really stepped it up. 7, 8 years, they've stepped it up, and they're actually running the ground, that area there, and just keep running it down. It used to be a green corridor. It was just as nice as this, and they were mowing it all the time, and it was clean, and they've just run it to the ground. And obviously they want to turn it into heavy industry or something like that, and that's the way of doing it. This piece of land here used to be covered in material and trucks and all that, and we've cleaned it up over the last 5 years. But that's what their piece of land used to look like, and it was disgusting, this piece of land. And then they've actually run that back down into the ground and just turning it into a dump. And I think the main aim is to turn it into industrial land, which it's zoned community facility land, and it's the last piece of community facility land on the island, and they're just destroying it. We bought it from Paul Watson, and it was an absolute mess, and it was used for dumping of trucks and that. We took over 500 tonne of steel in bodies of trucks and cars and excavators and forklifts to the mainland to get rid of them. I spent 47 grand on a barge fares in 2 weeks alone to clean this block up. The block next door used to look as better than this that it is now, and over the years they've just ran it into the ground.
What do you think this is going to do to your property prices, Sans?
It's going to bring the value down of all these houses around it and backs onto it. Even in the Queensland guidelines of treating acid phosphate soils, if they're going to bring the dredge up here, it states that you shouldn't be doing it in residential areas, and it's the residential houses all there. It's like they go against their own rule book.
They're going to be bringing in heavy trucks. Is that road graded for heavy vehicles?
So they're bringing in, there's over 1,300 truckloads to come up that street, body trucks. And that's just, I don't know what to say there.
Wouldn't be much left of the road.
No.
It'll just chop the road to pieces. It's not spec'd up for that. It's just basically a residential road, and they're going to use it for a heavy thoroughfare, and it won't stand up to it. At the moment, it's falling apart because of bridge at Sooning Street isn't being used, so all the trucks is going down Kelly Street at the moment, and it's failing. So you can only imagine that 1,300 heavy trucks on top of that, it'll just chop to pieces.
Isn't that where the proposed medical centre's going? That's where they want to put it?
They've asked to put the medical centre there. MI Care have asked council to go next door, and council have said no, we've got a better use for that land. We've had private people with funding to help move MI Care there. They've offered to help build the medical centre there, but council do nothing. They just run that down, keep running it down to the ground.
Why wouldn't you think of council? Wouldn't they like to go and have a medical centre here for the whole community of the island, like move the island forward? Instead of turning it into a rubbish dump. Where's the logic in that?
There's no foresight at all on council's behalf.
Crazy.
There's no foresight at all. And it's something that's going to, like, if we did over 50s here, and you had MI Care next door, the medical centre next door, community garden, it'll all help out. It'll help everyone in the community out.
It'd really be a big plus for this island. Lovely environment, and what, you just want to go and dig up contaminated
I think the problem
soil
is...
and dump it there and try and treat it there. And at the end of the day of that last meeting, he said, and after we spread it all over the island, after we sort of so-called treat it, if we've got too much, we'll take it back over the mainland. Well, why don't they just take it to the mainland in the
to start
first?
with. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of just screw up a piece of land.
In the mirror meeting, it was stated that it was topsoil that was coming out, and we've proven that now. It's not topsoil at all. It's actually, they've said nothing will grow in it. It's full of salt. So you're going to put that right here.
They want to work 5 days a week. They want to do 300 tonne a day. There just simply isn't the area here to dry it out properly and then stockpile it.
So that's our old mate's dilemma there, which is pretty hardcore stuff. And I mean, there is a lot more to sort of go to this, which is why we'll probably end up doing a bit of a doco at a later stage with some of the other shots that we got and some of the other footage of the the asbestos. And I unfortunately didn't get a chance to interview Andrew there, who was, who used to remove asbestos for a living. So it'd be great to get a little bit more of his opinion on, is this a good and safe way to mitigate the risks of, asbestos, as it's more his field than it is mine. But Alan, what are your thoughts on what we've just seen here, mate?
Mate, it's a train wreck, like everything else that the council touches. I mean, there's heaps of evidence in that creek of the council not doing the right thing. There's concrete, there's bitumen, there's loads of asbestos in there. Asbestos is a fairly dangerous sort of substance, as most of the viewers would know. So this isn't something to be trifled with, and his kids, like he said, were using his chalk and brought it home and started writing their names. I mean, that to me is just all sorts of bloody terrible, And this council, well, we're all about safety and we're all about accountability, and that's just rubbish. It's all about them when they feel like it.
And you hear the stories about people who have gone to remove asbestos or whatnot, and it's been hasn't been handled correctly, and the hammers of justice just keep falling upon them. Heavy fines and all sorts of things for not having dealt with it properly. But at the end here, the council, these people who monitor these things themselves, don't seem to stick to their own rules yet again.
Yeah, well, they're the worst offenders here, obviously, and don't forget that dredge spoil. It has to be spread 300 mil thick for it to dry out. Well, there isn't the room there to do that. Obviously the weather's not on their side either at the moment. But given all that washout in that creek, you've got acid sulfite soils and salt going into a freshwater creek. That is all sorts of broken.
Yeah.
And at the Saturday meeting, the council admitted that, if there was a rain event like what's happening just recently, the creek would get contaminated. So they're upwardly admitting that it's a broken model they're using, and yet because they're so broke, that's the only one that they want to look at. This is it's terrible.
How do we stop it, says Doug Raise Me. It's a very... Or Do Raise Me. I keep saying Doug. I forget about the H, but yeah.
Well, to answer that question, there is a legal option, or there's that's the short-term option, or there's the long-term option. The long-term option is there's a local government election in about 3 years, so make sure you don't vote for the same clowns we got in there now. And the short-term option is there possibly would be a court action pending. The Planning and Environment Court seems to be my second home now, so why not, put another application in and roll the dice again,
Yeah.
It's quite sad, taking a line from the movie Lincoln. These people are voted in by the people, for the love of the people. Well, there isn't much love there. There isn't much consultation. People don't want this, and Anne Marie's still going ahead with it. It's just all sorts of wrong.
Yeah, it's bad. I wasn't quite sure what it was I was going into when I went there with the camera, but as I'm walking through the river and old mate's pulling asbestos out, I'm thinking, should I be standing in this? Fuck the crocs and the snakes. I'll take the crocs and the snakes over this.
We had a snake kit there ready, mate. I mean, we were going to put a tourniquet on and cut your leg off if we had to keep you alive, but yeah.
I'm so glad you guys were there to help.
Yeah, moral support, yeah. But it's quite sad, and as you know, the financial model for the council is $2.85 million. That's the costing of it. We don't actually know when that starts and where that finishes. That $2.8 million. Does that include all the prep work for 55 Kelly Street? Does that include the 1 to 2 years that they claim they might be at Kelly Street before they're able to distribute this salt laden topsoil, which the the director for infrastructure said it could be at a Mirror or it's topsoil. Well, if it's
I've
laden
got
with
Senator
gold,
Rennick
it's
on the
obviously
phone,
not.
mate. I'm just going to have to stop you for a second. Sorry, mate. Actually,
Yep.
you can keep talking. I'll cut myself out.
Yep, rightio. Yeah,
Oh,
so
hang on.
they said that the material could be used as topsoil. That was the director for infrastructure, Matt, and obviously that's been found to be misrepresenting the truth, if I could use that phrase. You
Yep.
can't have salty material put in your gardens; it just kills everything. So, you know, the council haven't shown any sort of real respect for the community by having no community consultation whatsoever. The costing of this thing, I think one bloke said, you know, how much is it going to cost per ton? And the project manager Matt Schembury said, we don't actually know. So he said, well, if you don't actually know what it's going to cost per ton, how do you know how much it's going to cost overall? He said, well, we really don't know that either. So the next question is, given the three options, they said this one's the cheapest. Well, if they don't know how much their option's going to cost, how is it the cheapest? This is just absolutely ridiculous. And plus, you know, you saw the condition of Kelly Street there. It's falling apart now. So when the trucks roll on that, that'll be totally stuffed. They haven't factored in the couple of $1 million it cost to repair Kelly Street, I'm assuming. And Barton Street's an absolute write-off too. So it's just absolutely rubbery figures by the council. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Adam Bailey will pick up the tab, the state government will pick up the tab. So, yeah, it's all she'll be right, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So that viewer work start in about 2 to 3 weeks, so not very far away. So obviously the legal option is very pressing, and other options are very pressing too.
Sorry, just texting the senator.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay. Is he coming on?
It's hard to keep it up. Like I dropped him a line on Friday, as I mentioned to the podcasters earlier, the audience earlier. You know, and a testament to them how hard this fellow works. Like he sent me an email at 9 o'clock, and I'd knocked off. I'd had a beer by that point, so I didn't get the email till I seen it earlier when I was getting ready for this show. Oh, Struth, we can get him in, you know, and we'll see how we go. I've just sent him a link. We'll see if he comes and joins us. Hopefully he'll be.
I'll certainly give the senator a plug because I've listened to what he's got to say and it's a good common sense approach and you know all the things with regard to defence and the cost of living and stuff. You know they're very pragmatic things that he's advocated for and yeah I'd certainly give him my vote of confidence. That's for sure.
Yeah, you know, of all the politicians I've come across, he's definitely up there as one of the, you know, the best that I've come across. Always willing to give you the time of day. You know, obviously the mainstream media ain't going to give him much support, so he's become somewhat dependent. Even when he was with the Liberal Party, he still came and gave the North Queensland Freedom Network the time of day whenever he was in town. He's back in town again. Here at in Townsville on not this Wednesday, the next Wednesday, which is the Wednesday the 2nd, I believe. Yes, Wednesday the 2nd. Just trying to find his little thing here.
Yeah, at the Kerwin Tavern, I believe.
Yes, I'm just trying to find. I know it's on his website here somewhere. But he's doing a few. I know he's heading up to Ingham and Cairns and. I think he's stopping in Rockhampton or something before he makes it up here. Just trying to find where it is on his website.
So I guess for those viewers that don't know much about the political process, you've got the upper and lower house. Basically, the last scrutiny point for legislation is the Senate. That's where Senator Rennick presides and he looks at things. And, if it isn't up to scratch, he votes against it. If it is up to scratch, he votes for it. And that's the way the political process works. You've got the lower house. I think Philip Thompson's in the lower house, and so you've got the two different houses there, and one creates the legislation, and the other one basically passes it after scrutiny, and that's the way the process works.
So, and now, Felicity Cole it has expressed interest in coming on at some stage too to have a yarn to us. She'll be running for the seat of Herbert here, which will be good.
She sounds quite lovely and informative on the phone, so I'm looking forward to meeting her and seeing what her views are with regard to all the merit of issues in Townsville, whether it be from sewage to finance to bloody, the viability of this council, even, there's quite a few issues in front of her as a federal member.
Yeah, definitely.
Federal member.
Especially when we look at the issue that we're discussing here today, regarding what's happening on Magnetic Island. It seems that state government has had a bit of a hand in, what the proposals of. Actually, let's come to that. So this ties into what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago too. I think it's in this folder here. Is it no, it's not the Nellie Bay scenario, is it? That's a different one. Oh no, this is the Nellie Bay thing. Is that the same thing?
So the Nellie Bay dredging is a necessary event, and it has to be done. The permit, I understand, facilitates for the sand to be put back on the Nellie Bay beach. That obviously hasn't happened because I think we got some good video footage of the sandstone being exposed at Nellie Bay. So that's your all those conditions of the dredging and all that sort of stuff. So the dredge material they want to put on 55 Kelly Street, and and from there treat it. So the residents have clearly said that they don't want it on 55 Kelly Street. So I believe the only really viable option is to put it at the Townsville port, where all the other material goes. That's quite similar. It's a fit for purpose facility, and all it needs is Mr. Adam Bailey to give it his tick of approval and get the whole process going, and that would be of a lot of benefit to the people over the island.
Yeah.
And obviously, whether you be a resident that's copping the smell or the dust or whatever, or whether you're an environmentalist and you don't want to see a pristine creek like Gustav Creek turn to the mud slop like you see up in Papua New Guinea after the gold mines have devastated everything. It's a win-win for everyone, and especially if they do look at that permit and do put a little bit of sand back on that Nellie Bay beach. It certainly needs it,
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I'm just trying to quickly edit that footage so that people can see what we're talking about. I just got to quickly make sure I've got that in the right spot so I can find it when I come back.
So if I could read that that fourth paragraph there. So he basically says the local community overwhelmingly said no. The land was surrounded by low-density residential zoning. Families live there, and the community land is supposed to be just that, for community use. There had already been discussion among the island residents about where any new light industrial site might go. Magnetic Island Residents and Ratepayers Association, MIRA, similarly favoured a site in Cockle Bay next to the island's waste transfer facility. So, this is right in the middle of a residential area. It's just, it's just absurd.
well, you like go back to one of the previous podcasts. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week, where I went through this. If anybody wants to get into it more, but this is, the council's own wordings and things like that. This is the land that they want to, turn into a dump, basically. And as you can see, it's just riddled with other properties all around, including Old Mate. So that's the property we were on yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So where you're seeing the shots for over the fence, this is the fence here.
Yeah.
So, and you can see, from the top, it looks like a, pretty luscious sort of an area, and they want to just dump a whole bunch of sand and silt and whatnot there for sorting and relocation. So there's quite a few bits and pieces in all this. You can see there's the site. And where are we? There's something in here.
You can see that property that we were standing on in that last shot.
In here? Yeah.
So yeah, that's it there.
So it's pretty damning for all the people that are going to have to put up with this, and you can imagine it's going to be pretty damaging to their property prices and whatnot as well.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, they've got this lovely how to know your zones and all this sort of stuff. And, one of the most disturbing parts is that they've changed low pack industry, the definitions of here. So they've removed all these parts here, which are negligible impacts on sensitive land uses due to off-site emissions, including aerosols, fumes, particles, smoke, odor, and noise. They had to get rid of that, because obviously this is not going to work. Minimal traffic generation and heavy vehicle usage. Well, that had to go too, because we're going to need heavy vehicles to move this, and that's going to make a lot of noise. So, here's the watered down version that doesn't have that, which is very considerate of them, very thoughtful to make sure that they've covered their own asses while raising a middle finger to the general populace. That was the main bit I wanted to show there. I've got the video that I've just quickly slapped together in the background here. So this is what the beach looks like as a result of putting the port in. So because the port's there, it's messed up the flow of sand that would normally be there, and it's all been washed away. So it should have some, big sandy area, but as you see, when this shot pulls out, it's all been left to rock now.
Just for the viewers, that's the area in front of the old helipad. Halfway along Nelly Bay there towards X-Base, and that used to be, probably 30 or 40 foot of sand, then it used to go out. So again, that's the other view from the other side. That's towards X-Base there, towards the mainland. It's, you can't walk on that. That's just hard sandstone and bits and pieces.
Yeah, it certainly ruins the beach appeal, doesn't it?
And in that last shot too, Mark, you can see where the vegetation is overcropping there to the top left-hand corner there, where that used to go out so far and then drop off. So that gives you an idea of the volume of sand that's missing, And for the council to not recognise this problem, it's just ridiculous, They're not doing their job.
And now, well, I mean, that's again, so that people understand, the dumping of the sand, they want to grab it from one place, clean it up, and then dump it here.
Yeah, so that's in the permit. So obviously, if the harbour, as you can see there in the back right-hand side, is capturing the sand, and we accept that there's got to be a harbour there for people to get on and off the island. But however, the drawback of that is that it's a collection point for the sand. So to help Mother Nature, if you can use that term, you put it back on the beach, So it just basically migrates down to that corner where the harbour is, and it should be, as a part of maintenance, should be annually or biannually, and that should be put back on the beach, and that simply hasn't been happening.
Alrighty then. So what we might need to do then, I'll come back to that. I think we've pretty much explained what it is they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it, and it seems, obviously the end result is supposed to be good, but how they're going about it is the problem here. And to further look into that problem, here is the street for which they propose to have, I don't know how many trucks constantly moving sand along. This is its current state, and here's some of the residents with their concerns.
Tony Green, he's a resident at the island at the back of Nellie Bay. He's got concerns about the Kelly Street condition of the road. It's all falling apart. Tony, what do you say about the increase in traffic due to the thinning?
So sadly, it's as loud as it's going to get. Sorry, mate. It's like I said, I haven't had time to go through and do all the audio stuff. That's a bit tricky. So sorry, everybody's just going to have to turn their speakers up a bit.
So while we've got that on pause, mate, if you want to pause that quickly. So this is Kelly Street behind Tony here, and that's the ambulance there. So he's really concerned that if they chop Kelly Street up and the proposed area that they want to dump is another 400 metres behind him, he's very concerned that if there is a medical emergency, that this road can be so badly chopped up that it interferes with these people in their ability to do their work, and that's a fair enough argument too.
Oh, definitely. And to give people a bit of context, Struth, where's that file gone? I thought I still had it up. I'll bring this map up again so we can sort of place where this is happening. Just grab that bit. No, that bit moved. So this area here. So that's the site they want to put it on, and we're kind of down here. Is that correct?
Yeah. So just go down a little bit. So we're on the corner of Kelly and Barton Street there.
So yeah, that's Barton Street, Kelly Street. We're just here on this bit that you can't see, especially with the comment up. Just this. We're probably around here that we're hitting, and around here is your ambulance and fire service.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Just so people understand the location and where we're at.
Works that are just about to happen with 1,300 trucks rumbling along Kelly Street.
Yeah, well, there's the answer. It's a potential to have an accident. Someone's going to get seriously hurt because they haven't done due diligence. The road, as you will find out, it's all patched up, and with the trucks, a ton, I think 10 ton
So
they're carrying.
Some examples of the road
the access
deteriorating.
Run on the road.
It's in a shocking condition, and I think that's what Tony's pointing out. It's just not fit for purpose.
Yeah, definitely. And you can, these are just some lighter trucks. They're carrying a bit of load, but I imagine the load the trucks are going to be carrying are a lot worse. And to the left of this shot is exactly where they'll be driving in. And as you can see, the road here, right in front of the driveway, is already falling apart, and they haven't even started yet.
They'll run on the road all over the afternoon. Plus, because the bridge is down, we've only got the one road. And it goes through Barton Street and then down Mandel Avenue because, as you say, the bridge is done. But one of my real concerns is that if they do mess the road up at Kelly Street here, just where I am now, just to my right-hand side, is the ambulance and fire station. And if that road becomes unattainable, what we're going to have there is, if someone has an accident or when someone needs emergency attention, the ambulance or the fire brigade can't get out. And so there's a catastrophe straight away. A few months ago, when we were at a mirror meeting, and the first question I asked was, have you seen the road at Kelly Street? Because I cycle down it every week on Sundays, and it's all potholes. And their comment was, well, that wasn't in our thoughts at all. Make sure the road, that was your first job, to make sure the road was suitable to do the job, not just go, oh, we'll do this job and then look at the road and go, oh, you know what, we've got a we'll patch the road up. We won't, you know, and then we'll have. We didn't have a meeting with the participants of the island, but what we did was we had one a week ago, and so if we were asked, did you have a consultation with the islanders, they will say yes, we did.
So what basically
Well, they should have had a
Tony's saying is,
consultation with
you
the
know,
islanders.
the road should have been fit for purpose first. They've just patched it, and it's just not good enough. And like he said, he mentioned that information session the other Saturday, and that was basically the council saying what they were going to do. There wasn't any community input or ask the community how they felt. So it's just it's our way of the highway, and basically ratepayers are an inconvenience to this council, and that's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah, how dare you actually want to get involved in things and you know, get in our way. We're trying to do you know, our own thing here, and I'm sorry that, you know, we're our you know, you guys. Well, I can't even think of something because I'm too busy trying to do through too many things at once. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had something in my head, but then
well, how dare ratepayers want an input into their community? That's outrageous.
Yeah, I know. How dare they want representation? You know, we're here to represent the business interests that we've all got some sort of a hand in some way, shape, or form, or, you know, like, yeah, like I was saying, you know, several times in previous podcasts, it didn't take me long to be here in Townsville before so many people, just people at the supermarket, you know, go and buy a bottle of piss and then pissed off people just having a rant about how corrupt this town is, you know, and it's just painfully obvious, you know. I wish it wasn't, but that's the way it is, you know. I'm quite happy to move to Townsville and forget about all the filth of Melbourne and live in a beautiful tropical zone. And for the most part, at face value, it looks pretty good. But, you know, it doesn't take you long to start realizing just how bad things are on a political level here in this town. But let's continue through this, eh?
Consultation with the islanders, they will say yes, we did. Well, they should have had a consultation with the islanders the first thing they decided to do this job.
So there's been no meaningful consultation between the owners?
No.
Either with the elected representative, Anne-Marie, or the administration?
No.
Do you think Adam Bailey is the bloke to take this up to the council and get them to change their mind?
No, I think he's suspect.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's suspect. I went to see him about the tokens for the Centrelink. And what he did, he tried to accuse me that I was blackmailing him. I said, no, I don't do blackmail.
So what Tony's talking about there, Mark, is as the ferry fees to the island for the pensioners, how they weren't being indexed accordingly. And Tony said, hey, listen, mate, you need to look at this. And if you resolve this issue for me, or for the pensioners on the island, he was willing to go around and you know, say, you know, Adam Bailey did this for him and for us and all that sort of thing. And Adam, I think, took it the wrong way. So
yeah. So he's not. It wasn't so much he was going to Adam and threatening him that I'm going to go around bad mouthing you, telling you what a horrible person you are if you don't do what I want. It's a, hey, if you do the right thing, I can now go ahead and say you're a good bloke.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, and yeah, he took it the wrong way. So yeah, so that was a bit disappointing. But yeah, you know, hopefully Adam will find his feet shortly and stop the gaslighting that's going on by the council. How they're going to take his funding from Radical Bay and put it on the Picnic Bay Hill, where the council contractors failed so miserably to fix it. And the council said, "Oh, we'll always get our contractors back to fix it." And you know, I think it's been about 6 years now, and they're obviously not coming back. So she wants a bit of Adam's money to fix their stuff up, you know. So I think that's a bit rich by Anne-Marie.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's keep going, eh?
If you do something for the pensioners on the island, I will do something for you, i.e. I will tell the pensioners that you got us something.
Hi, I'm Kayla and I'm a resident of Kelly Street, and I'm, you know, been here for 4.5 years, and basically I'm a bit over the way the road's been used.
And I just want to say, like, this just happened. Like, they took interest. Kelly too. That was her name, wasn't it? What was her name again? I just heard it and I've gone blank. Anyway, this young lady asked what we were doing, and she was kind enough to throw us her 2 bob, and these shots are taken just down the road from where she is.
So basically, yeah. So what she said, Mark, is she'd lived there for about 4 or 5 years, and this is the worst she'd ever seen Kelly Street. So
well, let's let her say it, eh? Because she was kind enough to come and do it. But the point is, quite a few people actually had a lot to say and were pretty pissed off at the council as we were going around doing this. But not everybody was comfortable coming onto the camera, unfortunately. But this brave young lady was, so 10 points to her.
Plenty of potholes. I can't even walk down the road, to be fair. Can't ride my pushback down the road anymore without being run over by water or something like that. Something needs to be done, I believe.
So in 4.5 years, what do you say about the condition of the road now?
Oh, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I've never seen it in this condition ever. It's actually horrible. Yeah.
So the council need to take action.
Again, it's the worst you'd ever seen it.
Something needs to be done.
4 or 5 years.
So these are examples of.
Yeah.
Council need to take action.
Yeah, 100%. Something needs to be done.
This participant wasn't paid in any way. She just freely gave her time.
Yeah. It was really good of her to do that, and that's the beauty of getting around doing what we do. Is we can get the opportunity to meet awesome, brave people who are willing to throw their 2 bobs in. And obviously it takes a fair bit of frustration for people to want to find that, because she was a little bit nervous, but I think she handled herself pretty well.
Yeah, I think she did well.
So let's hear what Alan's got to say about Alan.
Examples of the huge corrugations of Kelly Street here. There's not real road construction, it's basically spray sealed on top of sand, and you can see the corrugation all the way through down to that Murray Street bus stop there. This road is clearly not fit for purpose, and it's certainly not fit for 1,300 trucks coming from the Nellie Bay Harbour going up to 55 Kelly Street.
So that's the entrance to the 55 Kelly Street, absolutely shot to pieces. And good luck to the council.
Yeah. So as you can see, there's the hole straight out front of the joint already. The road's already stuffed it, and that's just from dumping their stuff. That they've already trashed it. So.
Do you have the ones where Tony was standing right next to the water-filled potholes right at the base of Kelly Street there?
Hang on.
Like these are massive potholes. I think Paul before, as a Kelly Street resident, was talking about it. So that they might be at the front of his place.
Yeah, there's a few shots that didn't quite make it, and there was that spot there where I thought I was recording, and it turns out I wasn't. But that's another story. I think that's what you're referring to.
Yep.
Unfortunately, when you're in a hurry, sometimes things don't go the way you expect them to. But
job in the field.
Yeah, we got there. We got the job done in the end. So just putting together some of our other bits. So what else have we got here? So. Well, we should probably lead here into why this is the only road that you can use at the moment, which is the Suning Street Bridge, I believe. And again, apology for the poor quality. It's a silent movie. I was thinking of getting the Benny Hill music out for this one. So just play the Benny Hill music in your head, the because I think it's very appropriate for what Anne-Marie Greenie has managed to achieve here through neglect. It's utterly astounding what the damage to this bridge. So here we go. Feel free to commentate, Alan. There's no sound.
Yeah, so that's that's the entrance to 55 Kelly Street. Oh,
at the stage. Here we go. There we go. Let's get that from the top.
Righto, so that's the upshot from the clinic of the Suning Street Bridge. You'll see BMD. This job hasn't even been costed, and these people have got their banners on it. That's all the debris, which was the second component of the bridge being damaged.
Yep.
You know,
so as viewers can see, like there's this big tunnel down there in the bottom left corner. And that's a row of tunnels which is supposed to allow the water to flow. And as you can see, when all this shit gets blocked up, you'll see what happens.
So, funnily enough, this is Gustav Creek that could end up quite badly contaminated by the dredge spoil. So this is all your debris blocking your pipes up. Obviously, your pipes have moved and they're badly damaged, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this whole thing was quite preventable if the council had have assessed the damage properly and taken immediate action. They've chosen to sit on their hands, and this is a result of do nothing. We had the Director for Infrastructure, Matt Richardson, at the Mirror meeting, and he knew about this. So this is, if you could pause that last shot, Mark, I can explain a few things. So, even that one there. So that's your bitumen surface. Go back one or forward one, mate. Yeah, that one there. So that's your bitumen surface, and underneath that is your road base, or what they used for road base back then. That's an unbound material, so it doesn't have any cement powder or binder with it. Obviously, you know, at the beach, you've seen erosion from water, similar sort of thing. The original photo of the damage of this bridge is probably 1/2 metre hole. Originally on I think the 23rd of December, if the council had have taken action then, they could have avoided all this. So this material will continually wash and wash and wash, and it'll just keep going. So one of the excuses the council were giving at the Mirror meeting is they were worried about the environmental concerns and all that sort of thing. Well, what about the environmental concerns with regard to all this bitumen and road base washing into the saltwater side of Gustav Creek, going into the harbour, and then out to the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park? I mean, there's care factor 0 there, and this, you know, this is a good example of do nothing and see how bad things are going to get. Yeah. So that on the right-hand side of that shot, that's an asbestos pipe that we had Andy identify. Half of it's missing, so we don't know where the other half of that asbestos pipe is. So good luck to the people that have to look for that. So that's your.
Is that the big pipe that's running through here underneath the blue one?
That's a dark one, just below the blue one there.
Yep.
So it's about a 200 diameter, possibly a water pipe, but you know, care factor 0 by the Townsville City Council. So it's quite sad.
It's amazing the devastation of this, you know. Like, I mean, we looked at some of the earlier shots where it was just a little bit of a hole, you know, and again, you know, it's like, cool, you can see something needs to be done. Somebody should probably get in there and pull all that crap out of the pipes, and as you can see, they still haven't gone and cleaned up the mess, and this is the result of not getting in there and putting a bit of preventative measures in there. They've just allowed it to be absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, so that's the school in the background that one of the viewers was talking about before, and that's Gustav Creek. So these things, you know, during cyclone season, the council say, you know, clean your backyard up and prepare. Well, you know, this is the same sort of thing for the council on the island. They're simply lacking again. You know, whether they've just got no money because they're $500 million in debt. It's just not good enough. These maintenance things must be done. And
there's an old tyre shoved in under this road, which has obviously been washed down from, you know, somewhere else. So somewhere someone has allowed this tyre to end up in the waterway. Like, did this come from the council property again? I don't know. Like, who knows where that tyre come from? But who was out there cleaning that debris so that those pipes didn't get blocked up?
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm gonna. So that's at 2:07. We come back to this, earlier shot. Look at the size of that bloody tree trunk down the bottom here.
Yeah.
How has that gotten in there? Why wasn't somebody out there clearing the debris and chopping that up? It's obviously been dead for a long time. Like, I mean, you don't get that kind of texture out of a tree overnight. So again, where in one hand they're going on about environmental issues because there's this whole new green energy hub garbage that they want to blow thousands of dollars on here for Townsville, but they let this happen. You can't look after what you've got and you want to create more. Like, it's just nuts.
Yeah, no, it's hopeless. How was the best way to give you the picture of the original hole in the bridge on the 23rd of December 2024? Is that through text?
I think
or
I've got one here actually.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
I've got one handy if you want me to send it to you now.
Yeah, you can just email it to me if that's easy, because that saves me having to transfer it again.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, here it is. I found it. So if I pause that there and we... So is this the one you're talking about?
No, that's
the one before that.
No, way before that.
So that was phase 2 of everything collapsing because they didn't clear it.
Yep.
Must be one of the earlier ones.
I'll just send that to you now, mate.
In the meantime,
it's no bigger than a normal pothole in regular Townsville,
Yeah, well, man, I swear our streets look like we've been hit by a meteorite at this particular juncture in time. And, I had to go and see Jeff, who I can see is watching. G'day, Jeff, earlier today to fix my back thanks to a quality piece of road out there on University Drive. I believe that one's going to be a state issue for them to deal with. We'll cross that bridge a little bit later, though. In the meantime, I have to be able to start walking again.
So that particular shot there, Mark, is the water bubbling up underneath the footings of the bridge there, which is quite concerning.
Yes, definitely. So that suggests there is a big undercurrent, and I actually got one of my stand legs stuck in one of these holes. The camera leg just went right through. I didn't even see it, at first. So yeah, quite an extensive. You can see it. It's actually bubbling up out of the crack, which suggests water's coming from underneath the whole mounting. And this is obviously on the other side of this.
Yeah, so that's the upside. Yeah, so that's Andy there next to me. He's the asbestos retired expert with asbestos. He's pretty handy to have around the place,
Yep. Yeah, so when we come to get into a little bit more detail about this little doco, because this has all just been slapped together really quickly. I was out there shooting it yesterday. Here we are preparing it today. It's about as good as your average mainstream media job in its rush fashion, but we will dive in a little bit deeper, and I'm sure Andy will be happy to provide us a little bit of input about how unsafe some of this asbestos stuff is being dealt with.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that image hasn't come through. Oh, there it is. No, there it is. So Gary sent me something. I'll have to have a read of that later. So
it was actually damaged either Thursday night on the 21st or early Friday morning on the 22nd of December, mate. So I think the next rain event after December was end of February, so the council had a fair bit of time to take appropriate action, have a look at it, assess it, and get into it. A hole on the bridge. This can't be the only bridge in Queensland that has a hole in it.
Yeah, wow, I don't know if it's a hole anymore. The bridge is gone.
Yeah. It's stuff now, but originally at the end of December 2024, they could have taken appropriate action, and they failed miserably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it there.
So that's how it started, and you can see there's already debris here, that's already caused this. So it's already been blocked up. That's the problem, So at this point, it was a relatively small fix. Just unblock all the holes, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe the water will flow. But apparently that was too simple of an idea.
Yep. Again, you can see in that hole all the road base there that's been affected by the water and being sucked out. So that's the first indication you really need to take some action, to save the environment from being contaminated or whatever. Obviously the bridge at this stage isn't usable. However, you don't want to make a bad situation worse. But the council simply don't care, or they don't have the skill set to recognise that, which is even more alarming. And this is the result is what we just saw before.
Yeah. So that was phase one. Obviously, we had a quick squiz at phase two before, where that hole got bigger, and now there's no bridge. So, there are clearly opportunities to sort of, a stitch in time could have saved 9, and this time a stitch in time could have saved a whole bridge.
Yep. So literally
the cost blowout, like how much would that to fix this hole versus a whole new bridge?
Oh, mate, you'd probably be looking at less than $10,000 worth of repairs there to stabilise it, So now you're looking at hundreds of thousands. I don't know how much it's going to cost to get all that material out of the harbour. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Joanna's definitely put that point in. So Paul's emailed me some photos and a video of Kelly Street. Now, well, those stuff we just shot in that video we shot yesterday, mate. So I'm curious to see what you've got there. I've got to acknowledge this one. Thanks, Paul. A man with a brain. I wish council had people like you, pal. That's a wonderful statement. Also want to say g'day to Susan, who's watching us in beautiful sunny Scotland at the moment. How you going, Susan? Thank you for tuning in at 5:20 a.m. in the morning in Scotland. It's always good to see you here commenting away. So... Okay, try and cancel it from the wrong screen. That's not going to work. Okay, so what else have I managed to achieve? So we've done the bridge. We did that one. I just got a quick couple of
disaster in Horseshoe Bay.
Sorry?
The disaster in Horseshoe Bay, the Oval.
Yes, that's I've got like 3 things to clip up here. Actually, probably don't even really need that shot. We'll probably get rid of that. Well, not the whole timeline. Bring it back.
So I think the money shot on the day was our mate that was kicking the football, and it missed all the nets and ended up in the swale there.
Just ruin the final scene of the video. Why don't you?
No. We
don't need to watch the movie now.
No, not at all, mate.
No, that was the money shot. That's why I left it to the last moment. Oh well. I suppose whatever picture you've got in your mind, it's probably wrong. So unless of course you live on Magnetic Island and you got some idea of what we're about to show you, but. Where am I? Got to make sure it goes in the right folder.
So if I could address Kerry's concerns, that the council put a man-made swale at the back of the Horseshoe Bay Oval and wanted to utilise the water coming from the Jaden Street drain instead of putting it in the concrete pipes and taking the water, the force of the water out of it. They decided to just put a swale around the back of the oval and spend $7 or $9 million needlessly, and then you've got consequences for their behaviour now, and that's what we basically videoed when it comes up.
All right. Hang on, nearly hit the wrong one. So Rocky Footy, here we go. So I thought we'd start with a beautiful, scene. Here we are, kangaroos playing. I believe some untoward comments were being made at that point, so I made sure the audio was off.
So that's your Jaden Street and Gibbard Street, and this is where the water comes onto the back of the oval. So rather than so you've got your concrete pipes there, and on that side there, that's where it's going underneath the road, and that's basically the back of the oval through those trees there.
Mm.
So instead of the stormwater going down the edge of the road there like it should be.
So people understand what you reckon would have been a much better idea rather than running it through like this was to basically have the water do a left-hand turn at this point and shoot it down the street so that it's away from the footy ground, which you can see that little patch in between the trees. There's the river running through the center of the shot there. There's a patch in the trees, and to the left of that is the footy ground that we're about to show you. So here's some of the wonderful white rocks.
So they're the cheap rocks that the Director for Infrastructure at the time, Danny Lynch, said would be stopping the erosion. So this swale originally was just these sharp rocks here, probably 300-400 mil in diameter. And
so for those who don't quite understand, in behind the trees, in the middle of the shot is where those first shots were taken. So that's where the water's running from. And as you can see, this has all been washed away. This was all covered in sand, because exposed rocks was obviously dangerous to the footy field and the kids and whatnot who were playing here. And now all the money and the time and the effort that has gone here has been literally washed away down the stream further along.
Yeah, so if I could tell the viewers, we're in this swale.
You just sorry, I want to start it. Just start again there, mate, because your signal dropped out for a second, buddy. Horseshoe bay.
Right,
water rapid.
Nice. So these rocks were advocated by the council to stop the erosion, and they said that at a mirror meeting. However, I basically said to them, hey, listen, you've got all these rocks here and that's all well and good, and that's stopping it's a sediment control, so you say, but is it really compatible with kids and footballs? And obviously it wasn't. So then they spent $1 gazillion covering this up with sand. So these rocks, they're probably about 6 feet deep. That's how much that the council brought over.
Mm.
So if you could pan up again with that last shot, Mark, if I could explain that. So back.
Is that the one you wanted?
No, the one just after that one. As it goes up, you can see, stop there. So you've got your goal posts for your AFL and stuff there, your white posts. And because we raised concerns, even after they put the soil in there of people getting hurt or whatever, they put those posts up there with netting to stop the footballs going in there and kids being hurt. And as you'll see in this next shot, we don't think it was money well spent.
So obviously his old mate going to have a kick of his footy. I waited forever. He finally kicked it when I didn't have the thing rolling, so we got to see it actually going. In this case, it didn't quite cut the mustard, but here's his later shot, which clearly didn't get saved by those nets. So he goes and gets his footy, and that's just one bloke out of God knows how many who has hoped that these wonderful nets were going to somehow save his ball, but it didn't. So, some more money well spent. I believe what you were saying, helicoptered in these giant friggin' poles, and God knows what expense
they costed these at $180,000.
You couldn't bloody predict that, we would lob up on a Saturday and old mate just happened to lob up, and start kicking at the exact time we were there, and gave us a perfect example of how utterly useless these things are.
But don't forget this whole exercise, and down there is a concrete drain of immense size to put this little bit of water through. This was all needless. This is just you know, the council have done their best to destroy just about all the amenities on the island, you know, and this is seriously not safe.
Mm. Not to mention that concrete in the distance there, that's now, you know, like chock-a-block full of all the sand and soil and bits and pieces that is now a river. You know, so and it's literally our ratepayer money has been flushed down the drain. We would have got more shots, but we had to get the next ferry. So we at this point we kind of did a massive bolt from Magnetic Island, and I think we just made the ferry by about 2 minutes. So, you're all right, Paul. These things happen. I get fat fingers, especially after a couple of drinks too. So we got a question here from Martin. Does this council have an infrastructure engineering department? I believe they've got a department and a head of office taking a shit ton of money to do just about everything. How well they do the job, well, proof's in the pudding, isn't it? BMG engineers should have spoken up.
Why would you?
They did. They said, we'll take the bid on this one and we'll charge a shitload for it. I'm pretty sure that's what they did.
And we'll shut our mouths,
So, well, mate, I think we kind of reached the end of our all the footage that we shot yesterday. Well, not all the footage, what I could quickly slam together in the limited amount of time I had left.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your help, mate.
All good, mate. It's been a marathon of a mission to get all this prepped and shot and sorted. You know, that certainly. I mean, was it you who approached the mainstream and said, "Come over to Magnetic Bay on the weekend"? And they gave
Yeah. So they basically said due to funding cuts that they don't work Saturday and Sunday.
So that opens up a beautiful opportunity for the North Queensland Freedom Network to pick up where they have failed the community. You know, I did this for 2 beers and a can of scotch, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I know it's certainly the best weekend rates, but you know you got to take what you can get.
Yeah, that's it. But certainly next time, mate, there'll be more tinnies there for you.
It's all right. Well, this is, you know, an opportunity for the people to chip in and give us a bit of a hand. You know, obviously our lovely Patreons do their little bit. StreamYard sent me an email this month or last week actually, basically stating that their prices are about to go through the friggin' roof. I have arranged some sort of a discount program with them last time, so I still got to work out what it's going to cost. But before I apply the discount and figure out the numbers, they were basically quoting me about $900 to continue to use this StreamYard software. So the wonderful people that have been chipping in all year, every dollar of what the handful of people who have chipped in is about to go into purchase StreamYard alone for another year. So again, it's, you know, if you enjoy what we do and the hard work and the you know, the fact that we fought off crocodiles and snakes and asbestos filled council filth to bring you this story, then you know, please feel free. It's only $10 a month. You know, I don't know how much you spend on a coffee at Macca's, because A, I don't drink the shit, and B, I can't go anywhere near the place. It makes me feel ill thinking about it. But if you're one of those people who's dropping $5-10 a day for a coffee, what's $10 a month for, you know, content that you tune in weekly and enjoy, and is available to, you know, to the general public to drop me a line and say, hey, I've got a story, NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com. Do what Alan did and say, hey, mate, look, I haven't got much, but I can shout you a couple of tinnies today. Can you lob on down and do some of your great work for us? And, you know, look, you know, I'm a cheap shout, only a couple of tinnies and I'm there. So, you know, drop us a line and we'll do what we can. So obviously in the description, if you want something more, you know, then you can always try a 7-day trial of the Gaia network. And if you sign up, I get a bit of a bash for you, a couple of bucks for you helping out there. Or maybe you're a Bitcoin person. If you click the link in the description there, you can also get $10 free Bitcoin, and on your first transfer, you get 10 free bucks. I get $10. It's a win-win situation. Why wouldn't you want to jump in on that shit? So come on, help your fellow podcasters and friends and things out. Chip in where you can. Of course, you know, if none of those things appeal to you and you go, look, Barry, I want to help you out some other way, Batty, here, mate. I've got another idea. By all means, drop me a line at nqfreedomnetwork@protonmail.com. I am all ears because, the small amount of donations that have come through, and I appreciate every last one of you awesome people that have done that for me, have funded, you know, this software for last year and about to go into next year, and also some of the other software that I've purchased over the year. I think I've spent about $3-4 grand all up on, you know, parts and software and bits and pieces over this year alone to get things going. So, like, I mean, you know, to be able to create that intro sequence that I've done, you know, like I've got all the software to build that myself. I've done the music myself. I did the animations and all that myself. It's all 100% my hard work and channeling the force through whatever means you may wish to call it into these little fingers and getting them to work and do things. But it's all funded by you guys. So really would, appreciate everybody who's jumped in to give us a hand, and anybody who's feeling, Struth, I've been watching this show for a year and I love it. And you know what? I haven't done my bit. Now's your chance. Please do. So thanks heaps for coming in, Alan, man. It's we've really I think you've done some amazing work for the people of Magnetic Island. I hope they appreciate you and think of you next time round when it's time to get rid of this pathetic excuse for a council, and hopefully we can get a half decent one in, you know. Paul here was, wishes that people like us were in the council there running the show. Look, that's going to happen only with your support, ladies and gentlemen. And hey, more people like yourselves who are watching should get involved and do this stuff. You know, we've got a federal election. You can get involved with lots of people. We're going to have Felicity coming in to help us out. So anybody in the Townsville region who wants to learn a little bit more about Senator Rennick's party, I've got to chase up that call with the good senator myself, and we'll get him in to share his wares. But, again, we're all little people. There's little parties, and they all need help. Whatever your life skills are, what are you good at? Jump in and help out wherever you can, man. Because Alan's just a bloke, I'm just a bloke, and we're just doing the best we can to make the community we live in a better place. So thank you for that, Alan.
Thanks, mate.
Anytime, my friend. I'll tuck you backstage and I'll talk to you in a second, buddy. Have a good one.
Well, mate.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another show down and done. I have seen a few of the emails you guys have sent me. Isn't it good that JFK files are finally 80,000 worth of 80,000 pages have been released or more? Looking forward to seeing a little bit more of that coming out. Some of what I've seen already is like, whoa. But that's for another day. We'll have a yarn about that all in due time. I've got to make way because I believe Michael is possibly coming through with another podcast. So if you're watching this on the North Queensland Freedom Network channels, jump over to the Cafe Locked Out stuff. There's plenty more to keep you guys entertained for the rest of this Sunday evening. So thank you very much for watching. As always, you know what to do. Chuck on the Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. Go and have a look at the man or the woman in the mirror and ask yourself, what can you do to make this world a better place? Because truth, it only changes when people want to change. What was it was a joke we heard a little while ago. It was how many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? Just the one. But that light bulb's got to want to change. And the same goes for fixing this world. You've got to want to make it change. It's not enough to just sit here and go, I wish somebody would do something, because that somebody is you. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you next week.